Hello people, it's Dave here again from Creative Guitar Lounge. I'm actually doing a video today at the request of one of my subscribers, hello Neil, who was asking he was asking for tips on how to build a solo using blues scales, and he was kind of asking really and specifically about a standard kind of blues progression, a 1-4-5, which if we're talking about the key of A, which he mentioned, we have A, D, and E, so you know. That sort of thing, which we all know and love. And he was asking if, when he's building a solo over that, should he stick to the single first position or first pattern A blues scale, or should he use the scale per chord? And the kind of answer is, it's a great question, and the answer is either of those things are relevant. But what I would suggest is that I've actually gone into a great deal of detail about all this, about building solos around blues scales and also around the cage system and everything else in the little course that I recently put onto Gumroad, and you'll find a link to that if you're interested in the description below. You can at least find out what's on offer there. It's kind of 15 different videos, and it's really aimed at people who've kind of mastered a few chords but are looking to kind of learn much more about rhythm and lead guitar playing. So it's quite a comprehensive course which is aimed at giving you very versatile and transposable skills. And what we're talking about in this little video is covered in a lot more detail there. But anyway, let's move on. So if we're playing in that chord progression, that 1-4-5 in the key of A, our blues scale is, as you know, those 5 notes, and they obviously repeat. And they just continue with the notes as we go. So if we were on our A chord, we could be doing a lot just in that one position blues scale. We could play the whole thing because that works equally over the A chord and the E chord. And we have that blues note that we can use to do the little progression, because we often in those chord sequences there'll be a kind of turnaround at the end, resolving to the E chord and then back to the A. Whoa. Apologies for the little mistake there. But anyway, that's us just staying in the one position. But remember, there's a few things that we can kind of add to that. We can look at the other positions for the blues scale, and we can get things a little higher up the neck. For instance, your next position from there, you can use the blues note. And you've got that other little pattern there. That you can add to, and that's just exactly the same scale. That's still using your A blues scale, but it's using the second position of it, because everything just repeats on the guitar. And again, in my course I talk about how you can use octaves to kind of master all this stuff, because you don't always have to start on the root note on the bottom E string. We have one here, the octave on the D string. But beyond that, that is also one of the positions. If you take that one step further up, that is actually one of the positions of the fourth position of your D blues scale. So you have these notes here. And then if you move that 1 fret further, 2 frets further down, you've got the same thing. So that's your E blues scale, one of the positions of your E blues scale. So if you learn all of the positions of the blues scales, you'll find that particularly in this 1-4-5 sequence, they have a lot of in common. They interlink in a lot of different places, and there's normally just one note of separation, one semitone between them all. So you can find, if you learn those positions, you can find one of the blues scales for whichever chord you're in really close by. Or you could just continue with that one scale shape, and you've got that here for your D chord, starting on the 10th fret, or for your E chord, you've got it on the 12th fret. So one of the things that you could do is just play those positions, as Neil was asking, over each chord in the progression. So we could stick up here for A, or use some of our higher or some of our other positions, just sticking completely on A and play that all the way through those three chords. Or we could, when we get to our E chord, our D chord, we could come down and play a little sequence there on our D, and then we could do the same on our E chord. Okay, so there's lots of different ways that you can do this. So the kind of basic answer to the question is yes, you could just use the A blues scale for that whole sequence, and that's kind of what the blues was all built around. Or you could use the same patterns per chord, but bearing in mind, as I said earlier, that you can find those patterns pretty close by to wherever you are, particularly in that very simple blues chord progression. So I hope that's been helpful. One of the very typical things in blues soloing is the kind of call and response idea. So you kind of do a phrase that sounds like a question being asked, and then a rephrase that sounds like that being answered. It's kind of just a matter of experimentation, but you could do as your question, and then maybe something higher as your answer. So you could kind of think about it that way, or just go, play to aim to land on the notes of the chords as they come. So you could structure solos that way and just create phrases that land on the appropriate note just as the rhythm section hits that chord. So A, you've got your A. And then when you're on the D chord, you can still be staying in this scale. And aiming to land on the D note for that chord, and do the same for the E chord. So I hope that's helpful. It's just a few approaches. The thing about being creative on the guitar, which is what I'm kind of all about on this channel, is just to kind of find things that please you and that sound good and that work, using these strategies and techniques and patterns and scales and so on. So like I say, hopefully that's been useful. If so, let me know, give me a little like if you liked the video, leave me a comment. I'll always get back to those. And if you haven't subscribed and you've just come across this, please consider subscribing. It really kind of helps me out. I'll give you a link to a couple of my other videos at the end of this, and my course, like I said at the beginning, there's a link to that underneath here. It's, I think, very, very inexpensive, and I think there's an awful lot of value in there. So at least follow the link, go through to the page and find out more. And I hope to see you in another video. So thanks for watching this one. Cheers for now. Bye bye.